Hi everyone, your local hipster here, and it's time for a review of the new collaborative album between Denzel Curry and Kenny Beats titled Unlocked. Denzel Curry, Florida rapper, you should know who he is. Dude's good at his craft. Kenny Beats, you should also know him. He is responsible for some of the best beats out of 2019. But if you don't know who either of those two are, Denzel Curry, Florida rapper, known for projects like Taboo. He got famous off of an Ultimate meme. Imperial is also another good album under him, as well as Zoo, which is an album that I reviewed on this channel. You can go check that out. Kenny Beats, on the other hand, is a producer. He has a series on YouTube titled The Cave, where he takes rappers in and he works with them, creates beats for them, they rap over some instrumentals and whatnot. It's a fun little series, I suggest you check it out. But ever since the Denzel Curry Cave episode, people have been wanting a collaborative album between these two, similar to the Rico Nasty project that was released in 2019. It's short, it's concise, it's brief, 8 tracks long at 17 minutes. I was kind of curious whether or not this was actually an album or an EP, but yes, it definitely is being marketed as an album. Going into this project, I really was hoping for the best. Even with the brevity of the project, I still felt like Denzel Curry could do something magical. Given that we saw that blood in, blood out mix that I loved so much, I wanted to like this a lot. And there are things to like about this project, no doubt. For one, a lot of the lines on this project, delivered by Denzel himself, are funny as hell, witty, clever, a little bit of a social commentary angle too. You got this one line off the top of my head is, "These people want to take it back like civil rights and Rosa Parks." Another one being, "You act so hard, you should thank the Academy." Many others too. And while I think the strong suit of this project are the lyrics, I think there are some points where it could falter a little bit. But for the most part, there are some really fun lines on this project. I'm enjoying a lot of the bars on this thing. Sometimes when I'm not really loving something on this project, it's mainly because of two things. One, it could be Denzel Curry repeating a verse that he already said, or two, it could be the brevity of this entire project. Now, Denzel Curry has done short albums well. We saw it on Zoo. We saw it on that Blood In, Blood Out mix. But for me personally, this isn't a shining moment for him. Yes, there are moments on this record that sound great, that sound phenomenal. But there are also some moments on this record that sound less than good. Especially the opening track to this project, which is really more of like a mood setter than anything else. Very, very little in the way of lyrical content delivered on the first track. It's just this tiny little verse, and while there is a good line on this saying, "These people hysterical, I'm historical," that Oracle line is also really good too. Now the production on this thing also needs to be talked about because I admire Kenny Beats doing something different on each track, or at least doing something different completely out of his wheelhouse. And for the most part, he passes very well. However, this production style reminds me very heavily of MF Doom, or what we saw on the collaborative project Mad Villainy. The production has a lot of these warped, repetitive samples, hardcore hip-hop with a little bit of boom bap, and Denzel Curry adding a little bit of that southern hip-hop flair. The production on this thing is fine. I like it a lot, but it does kind of ring a bell in my mind saying, okay, this feels a little too similar to what we got. It's nothing to the point where I'm like hating this thing, but it's a little distracting sometimes, not gonna lie. The last thing I really want to note about this project is that it's very short of breath. I feel like there could be so much more on this thing. And it's kind of weird because that was the same exact thing holding me back from loving the Rico Nasty and Kenny Beats collaboration. It just felt like it was so short of breath, it was so underdeveloped, and even if they were going to go for like a Mad Villainy type style, they could have way more songs than this. 8 tracks, 17 minutes is too short, and if you're gonna have something like this, title it as an EP, because these songs in the context of this record sound fine, they go by fast, but then you have a 3-minute cut. The track's so incredible. Given it in the context of this record, it being the longest song on here, it definitely feels like this one takes its time to fully finish. Whereas the other songs on this record, the 1-minute cuts, the 2-minute cuts, they feel like they finish before they've flourished. Still, this is a good project, do not doubt me on that. Even if both Denzel and Kenny are wearing their influences on their sleeves a little too much. From the MF Doom style production, there's also a moment where Denzel's flow reminds me a little bit of Kanye's flow on the track Monster off of Dark Fantasy. Again, these are not terrible per se, they just have their similarities that sometimes is a little hard to distinguish, even if it's very different. I like to play the what does this sound like game in my head, so sometimes I'm just listening to the song and just thinking, man, this sounds so freaking familiar, and I just want to pin down what it is. And then the track is over, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't even listen to the entire thing. I digress. This is still a very worthy album. An album worthy of your attention and your time. It doesn't take up too much time, 17 minutes, 8 tracks. I still think this is a very good project, even if I am just a little bit underwhelmed by it. There definitely could be more material on this thing, no doubt. But for me personally, I feel like this was a little short of breath, underdone, and half-baked. Still, I like a lot of what's on this project. For me personally, it's a very strong B-, and I'll leave it off on that. I'm curious to know what are your thoughts and opinions on this album down below. Let me know what albums you want me to review next, and that is it. Leave a like, comment, share, do whatever you want. Let me know how I can improve future videos down below, and remember, this is only my opinion, because music is subjective.